Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Welcome back. This is your girl Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey Kat.
Hey Moni.
You look cute.
You look cute.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Listen, every day is a fight.
It is. And I feel like I could be cuter, but this was all I could do, you guys.
I think you've reached a really good level of cuteness. Like,
Good.
you don't want to get like twee. It's British
I
slang.
don't know what that is, but tell me about
Twee?
Yeah.
That's when like things are too perfect.
it. Really? Oh.
And it like actually makes your brain be like, ooh, this is like
It's too much. It's too much.
yeah, like
okay.
you always want you don't want it to be twee.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be twee, you guys.
Yeah. I'm feeling international because of the Olympics.
I know. We were just talking about that, you guys. If you're not patrons, you should head over to our Patreon at the Fat Podcast. Lots of fun content over there. But today, though, you guys, we have a fabulous book in store. Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is a banned book. It's why we picked it. He lives here in Indy, so that just gives us a little bit of an incentive to kind of highlight somebody who lives where we are. And I enjoyed that book, Fault in Our Stars.
The Fault in Our Stars.
Thank you. So hard.
You weren't expecting. You didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming.
It was a 1-2 punch.
Oh, it got me.
Because you're like a YA novel. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and not even like, yes. I guess it was that. I didn't expect for it to take me down.
I think it's been banned too.
Probably.
In some places.
I'm sure all of his books have and will be.
Doing it.
Yeah, they do. Right. There's like a little teenage sex scene or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I really enjoyed the author, and I was really grateful to revisit some of his work. And yeah, so it was.
He didn't disappoint.
He did not disappoint. So this is going to be a great episode, you guys. So let me give you a little bit about the source material today. So Looking for Alaska. Let's see. Okay, I like this one. All right, so Looking for Alaska. It's a 2005 coming-of-age novel by John Green about Miles Pudge Halter, a teenager who leaves Florida for Culver Creek Preparatory School in Alabama to escape his boring life and find the great perhaps. At Culver Creek, Pudge makes new friends and he falls in love with Alaska Young, a beautiful and intelligent troubled girl. Pudge and his friends experience ups and downs of adolescence, including the unexpected tragedy that forces them to confront their identities and the meaning of life. Boom.
Boom.
Okay, this is why we love John Green.
Nailed it.
Okay?
Yes.
Because he's helping young readers grapple with the bigger themes in life, which as adults, newsflash, we still grapple with, which I think is why these books end up being compelling. So
Whatever. I'm not threatened by the ever-present specter of death.
I don't know. It freaks me out sometimes. Sometimes. I just try to focus on
I
it.
was just being silly.
It's like, I don't know, friend.
It motivates a lot of my behavior.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have a little blurb about John Green.
Oh,
real
I
quick.
do.
Let's do that before we forget, because I feel like I've been trying to skip over that every episode.
Fine. It's fine.
Let's get into it.
It all works out.
It does.
It all works out. So, this John Michael Green person is an American author, YouTuber, podcaster, and philanthropist. His books have more than 50 million copies in print worldwide, including The Fault in Our Stars, which is one of the best-selling books of all time. He was originally from Florida, but when he was a kid, he moved to Indiana, and that's where he decided to stay, decided not to go back to Florida. I wonder why.
Moment of silence.
Looking at you, Florida. Get it together. Anyway. So, yeah. Interesting fellow.
I like it. I like it, friends. Okay. And so we're going to get into all of the things, you guys. But before we officially get into the meat and potatoes of this show, let's dedicate the show like we always do. So hands over your hearts, everyone. So as always, we want to dedicate this episode and every episode to our patrons. You guys are so special to us, and we appreciate the continued support. I also really wanted to dedicate this episode to Sonia Massey, who, if you haven't heard by now, you guys, this was a young woman, 36 years old, killed by the police and died by homicide with a gunshot to the head. And
where was this?
Illinois.
So very close.
So not far from where we are right now. And this was a senseless death. This was somebody asking for help from the people who we pay and use our tax dollars to help us and fund their salaries and stuff like that. And for them to come into her home and kill her for no reason is out of control. It's so sad. What about you, friends?
Yes, and my dedication this week is going out to international cooperation, which was a big theme of the Olympics, which had their opening ceremonies this Friday. I watched it with my daughter and just got inspired. It was so beautiful. And even like what was going to be my other dedication, which was the lady at the beauty supply who gave me a encouraging word on Friday, and I've just been trying to spread it to everybody because it just meant so much. But she's someone who, inspiration can come from anywhere. And this idea of, I love the Olympics because it's this idea of course, we're from different places, but we're ultimately all the same. You're just another part of me. And it's so very clear when you see like all the joy. And then, of course, because a big part of competition is failure. So when you see the agony of defeat, like there's that familiarity too. So all of it creates this beautiful cacophony of joy and athleticism, fashion and beauty and art. It was just wonderful. And Celine Dion. So, yeah, dedication over.
I love it. I love it, friends. Okay, guys. So we are back. And we're talking about Looking for Alaska by John Green, you guys. This book, let me see if I can find the stats.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this.
Oh, that's so good. I'm glad you were surprised.
I mean,
that's awesome.
I knew it was going to be good.
Sure.
Sure. I guess because he does cover death a lot, I wasn't surprised. Well, because to me, there was a lot of foreshadowing.
100%. Yeah. There was lots. So this book is about, if you guys read this book, it's only about 221 pages, the paperback version. It was first published March the 3rd, 2005. I listened to it on Libby. I was able to pick it up at the library app. It was about a 7-hour read, so wasn't hard to get through at all. But a really, really good book.
Can I make a comment about the audiobook?
Please.
Okay, so I listened to the audiobook as well through the Libby app. Yeah. Thank you, Libby app.
Yay.
And Will Wheaton was the voice actor who read the book. Mm-hmm. And do you know who that is?
Will Wheaton. If I Google it, yes.
No.
Oh.
I'll tell you from my brain. Will Wheaton played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek. He was Dr. Crusher's son.
Oh.
He was the boy wonderer. And so he also had a cameo playing himself. Yes, Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Wheaton! Because he was also Sheldon's nemesis on Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, to me, fun. I almost was already just Will Wheaton! I'm like, okay. And I think he did a very good job.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, I'm a fan.
That's so funny.
I'm a fan.
I didn't even know Will Wheaton
Yes,
was out
I couldn't wait to tell you that.
Him?
Yes.
I remember him. That's him?
Yes.
Oh, look at him. He grew up.
He did.
Aw, how cute is that?
So, yeah, okay. But there's a scene from Big Bang Theory where Sheldon gets real mad and he's like, Wheaton! Because he says it like Khan.
Oh.
How Shatner did. So, whenever I hear Will Wheaton, I hear Sheldon explaining that. So, yeah,
I love it.
That's just a little side note there. Has nothing to do with the book, really, but.
That's okay. That was still fun, though. So, yeah, I thought the voice acting was pretty good. I thought the book was really good. And I feel like, this book is, it's definitely a coming of age story because our main character, Miles Halter, who's referred to as Pudge, he's a 16-year-old high school student and he's the main character and he is the sort of narrator. And he's new at this Culver Creek Preparatory School. This is sort of and it's weird because Hulu, you guys, fun fact, Hulu did a series of Looking for Alaska too, which I saw a few years ago and didn't realize it was a book. The source material was from John Green or whatever. So when I saw it, I didn't realize it, but it was surprisingly good. I remember really enjoying it. So check that out if you get a chance. But this was like a prep school in Alabama.
Boarding school specifically.
Boarding school, like a boarding school.
But it was a preparatory school too.
Yeah. Because I'm like, who are these people? Like, do you know anybody who ever got sent away to school? I feel like that's...
Yeah.
Who? We don't got to say it, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I've known some people who gone to boarding schools.
Not in the country?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
In the United States?
Yeah.
Oh.
And actually, funny enough, that white man, Tucker Max, he went to boarding school.
Well, okay. Yeah, I picture well-to-do white folks going to, I guess, preparatory schools, but I guess I don't know a lot of those. So it's like I don't know anybody who here in the States went. I know people who lived in other countries.
And I've known people who sent their kids there.
Really?
Because I always kind of looked and was,
okay. Interesting. Well, so anyway, this young man,
it's not always nefarious reasons. Like, I don't want to make it sound like it's always shady, but if you do send your child to a boarding school, make sure you've got a foot in the door.
The connotation, though, I do feel like culturally, especially as someone who has no information about this and doesn't know people who have actually been who've actually attended, it does seem like when I think about boarding schools, like, oh, you send the kids who are bad there. You know what I mean? Like it's like a threat. Like so maybe that's a movie sort of.
I remember it was always a trope in like old movies that like you send your stepkids to boarding school.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't want to have to deal with them. Like you want to create this new family, so you kind of get them. It's a way to get someone out of the way while looking magnanimous.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so boarding schools though, right? Like so it's not something I'm super familiar with, but also there was always this negative connotation. But I guess people do.
But there's positive connotations like Hogwarts.
Sure, yeah.
But even though they were dying at Hogwarts,
crazy. Listen, people were dying. It just seems like, well, I don't know. Like in my mind, the idea of sending my kids somewhere where I am not directly involved, I don't like it. I don't want it. It's not for me.
It's not.
So, but this young man, he was in search of the great, perhaps, which I forget the author whose words those were, but just kind of like, he was trying to escape his boring life basically in Florida.
Because he was obsessed with last words.
Which was adorable.
It was
a little bit morbid.
A little morbid, but it was clever.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
And so he gets to camp. He meets his roommate, who's Chip, the Colonel Martin. And
he was black on the show.
He was black on the show, which I liked that.
I was
that
like,
was
that
awesome.
was kind of funny. Because then
cute.
I thought to myself, I was like, oh, wait, was he black in the book?
No,
but
I don't think so.
But it's interesting that the idea that it's like, well, if they don't tell you that the character, if they don't give the ethnicity, you just assume they're white.
I did
too.
Wow. Way to go, white supremacy. Way to brainwash me.
Because they had to tell you the one guy was Asian.
They did, because Takumi, that was one of their friends. He was Japanese, but it came up specifically because they talked about some of his, family and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we have Miss Alaska Young, who is one of Miles's friends and love interest. And
she was so hot, you guys. You don't even understand.
She was so hot, you guys. And
it's just, we're just saying that because the author had to keep bringing it up, or the narrator had to keep bringing it up.
He was clearly, his nose was wide open. Like this was his first time, basically being away from his parents. Like basically,
and he wasn't getting any play at home.
None. Zero. Big nerd.
And I mean, even the nerds were,
they were getting it
come up sometimes.
And Alaska was helping them out too, though, because I mean, she was a traditionally kind of, I guess, a classically beautiful young woman. So, but she was really troubled, but also real. They painted her as this complicated character.
I had her down as a manic pixie dream girl.
What is that?
It's a trope in like literature and media.
Okay.
It basically like movies. A lot of times when men write like sort of the perfect girl, she's this manic pixie dream girl, where she's crazy, cool and unpredictable and smart and irreverent. It's just this sort of.
In real life, you'd hate her guts.
Right. Like in real life, this person would be impossible
to be around.
But to him, it was enticing and intriguing and seductive because it's like, ooh, she's broken and I can fix her.
And honestly, I don't even know if it was all of that. I think he just was really bent on her looks, though. I don't know that he actually even.
And the fact she wasn't boring. I think the other little chick, she was cute too, but she was boring to him.
Couldn't talk. Like
there's nothing to talk about.
Agreed. Yeah. So then, friend,
I'm sorry.
Can you do what you do so well?
Oh, was that
like what people come here for is? So I mean, I'm talking about the main characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just give us sort of a beat by beat. So I know we spoil stuff.
We do.
And I don't know if we can talk about this without spoiling it, actually. So
I don't know how to talk about anything without spoiling it, which is why you tell me to hush.
I do. Hush your mouth. But I don't want you to hush your mouth right now. I want you to give the people sort of a beat by beat. Let's take them through just like what the story is about, and then we can get into it.
So we start with Miles, aka Pudge, going to the
Culver Creek.
Culver Creek, and he describes it as like a really big motel. It's how the campus looks. And it's in Alabama. So he's going from Florida to Alabama.
Wait, and let's pause there, because to me, it's like, you thought you were going to Alabama to find your next, your the big perhaps or whatever the hell.
But it's
the
his family's alma mater too. Like his
Sure,
dad
his dad.
went there,
Sure,
so
sure,
there's a
sure.
tradition there. So that's part of why they're letting him go. I think
Sure.
why they probably feel a little safer. And when they get there, like there's this real strict dean character, the Eagle.
The Eagle.
He gets there, he immediately takes in with the bad kids, starts smoking and drinking. But he's never had any friends, so he's very susceptible to peer pressure.
Yeah.
And to me, that was one of the things too, where I'm reading this as a parent, former teenager also, who had trouble
Former
making
teenager. That's funny.
who had trouble making friends. So I'm kind of seeing the thing, but I'm like, Anyway, like I said, he's going gaga for this Alaska girl. And the way the book is structured is you can tell that there's some sort of like prime event, because he describes every event as being a certain amount of days before. And then we have a prime event and then a certain amount of days after. Mm-hmm. So the prime event ends up being Alaska dying in a car crash while drunk driving. And so after that happens, they become obsessed with like find what led to it. Did she do it on purpose? And this is also spurs with the classes they're taking, especially his divinity class, where they're having to talk about different religions and what happens after you die and why do people come up with religions and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, fun fact, John Green went to divinity school.
Did he really?
In Chicago.
That makes a lot of
Doesn't
sense.
that make a lot of sense? And it reminded me a lot of schools we went to, because we always had to take theology classes. Mm-hmm. And you do end up tying, I think my senior year, they let us, we could sub out philosophy for theology for an honors course. And I was like, yeah, let me do that. And I have some, anyway, I remember that. But yeah, so the book ends basically with him coming to grips with the fact that he didn't really know her. He just mostly had a crush on her, and that her memory was fading. But at the same time, you get to, teenagers feel indestructible because we are. Like, as human beings, like, we never really die, but
we die.
We die though.
We physically die.
Because I don't know about you, but reading this as a parent, I was like, these kids are getting away with a lot of crap. I don't want them to, a young person to read this thinking this is what to do.
So is this why it gets banned? Is that why books like this get banned?
Well, there was language. To me, I think it's appropriate for young adults. I have a young adult, like I said, like she's 14. I would be okay with her reading this and us talking about it. I don't think this is beyond anything that she's aware of. Mm-hmm. I think everything that they talk about in this book.
So let's get into some of the topics that they really sort of get into.
Blowjobs.
Right? Blowjobs.
That's a favorite topic. I mean, it's an often searched.
It is.
2 words.
We don't want to know about it.
So, that comes up. Regular, like, intercourse comes up.
Sure.
Drinking, bad alcohol comes up. Fake IDs, lots of cigarette smoking. Some marijuana use, less than I would have thought.
Yeah, more cigarettes and alcohol, though.
Yeah, mostly cigarettes and alcohol. Strong language.
Yeah.
Strong language. Skipping class.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, I wasn't happy when Alaska, you get the impression that's what's going to happen. At least when I was reading it, I felt like that's what was about to happen. She was about to die, especially the way she was living. Because once again, if you live like that, you live fast and you die young. That's a lot of times what happens. So it was it vindicating? Is that the word I'm looking for? I was glad there was finally some consequences. That's what I was, because I think if the book had just gone on like this and nothing happened to anybody, I wouldn't be a fan.
Yeah. Well, because it's not realistic. And I think that's what John Green does so well, though, is that, like, he really humanizes these experiences that feel, you could be reading this book like, oh my God, like, like what you're saying. They're getting away with so much. But he's always bringing that sort of anchoring moment of like, actually, you do stuff happens.
Luck runs out.
Yeah, it does run out. And so, and there is that sense of youth that lends itself to feeling like, oh yeah, I'm invincible and there aren't any consequences. There are consequences, but I guess the bigger sort of, lesson in the book is that, like, even when these big things do happen in life doesn't stop, right? Like we do keep going, we keep pushing, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So what did you think about the relationship between the Colonel and Pudge? Like, I thought that their sort of friendship was really endearing, and what are your thoughts?
I think one of the things that I think was endearing, because I was happy for Miles that he made a friend, because he obviously needed one. But I think that Pudge, being from where he was able to sense some vulnerability in Miles and was using him. Especially because Miles is
Miles and Pudge are the same person.
Or I'm sorry, the Colonel.
Shit.
Sorry. I think where the Colonel came from, like, he was able to manipulate Miles because
buy me some cigarettes, bro.
Yeah, let me get them cigarettes. For one, got him smoking. Got him smoking so he could bum his cigarettes and stuff like that. So because Miles was one of the broke kids. He was there on scholarship. Or not Miles, sorry.
Chip, the Colonel.
Was there on scholarship. So he had a chip on his shoulder, interesting name there, about all the rich kids who went there. He called them the weekend warriors. So they would go home on the weekends to like much more comfortable circumstances and had lots of money for stuff. And whereas Miles, Pudge per se wasn't rich, but they were like comfortable. Yeah, it wasn't like Miles, not Miles. Why do I want to call him Miles?
I don't know.
Chip.
Because they didn't call him Miles.
They did.
They always called him Pudge the whole time.
So the Colonel, I just can't call this child the Colonel. That was always so weird to me. When I see the Colonel, I see the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. So to me, like, that name was hard to associate with him. To me, it was easier to call him Chip because he got Chip on his shoulder.
Okay.
But he grew up, single mom in a mobile home. But, you could tell he was loved.
Yeah,
like, his mom loved him and stuff like that. But he just felt away. Like, you're around these rich people all the time. They're able to do all these things you're not able to. They bring it up, So it was, and the intensity, because they also tried to kill Miles his first day there. That was a little extreme.
Let's talk about it, because I thought what was interesting was the sort of ethos of, no snitching. Like, that was a really big sort of like theme in the whole.
It was like prison. That's what the boarding school reminded me a lot of prison movies, because everything is about cigarettes and not snitching, and
it went down. Like, it was like,
pranks.
And pranks. So, like, one of the very first incidents that happens once Pudge makes it to the school. So he gets this sort of moniker of Pudge because he's super scrawny and skinny and stuff. And so the Colonel thought it was funny and ironic. And because some of the weekend warriors thought that the Colonel had something to do with these kids who I guess they ended up getting expelled because they were having sex and doing drugs or whatever. They got caught up or
doing
whatever.
3 expellable offenses. They were smoking, drinking, and having sex.
Yeah. And so one of the main things you can't do, even if it's one of your nemesis, is you cannot like snitch. Like, that was one of the big things. So they thought that the Colonel snitched. And so
to me, it was super obvious it was Alaska.
Obviously.
We're adults.
Obviously.
And because that was her roommate too, right?
Who?
Alaska's roommate that she snitched on.
Oh, was it?
I believe
maybe it
so.
was.
Because I remember thinking too, I'm
right,
like,
because who else knew
she
was there?
Yeah, like, I felt like it, and it just so happens you get a room to yourself if your roommate gets kicked out.
That part. Yeah, that is true. So, that ends up happening, and then, I forgot what I was saying for next.
Oh, we're talking about them trying to kill Miles.
Yes. So the big prank was, or not the prank, but yeah, the prank that ended up happening was the weekend warriors went and grabbed Miles because he was new, taped him up, like duct taped him from like his waist down, put a tape over his mouth and threw him in the lake, which happens to all the kids, but usually they're not taped up.
Yeah.
And so luckily he didn't die from that. I thought that was kind of fucked up.
Very.
But,
which is why, can I just say, I do not like pranks. I'm not a prankster. I've never liked pranks. I don't like them. The only little prank that they did in there that I do like is when you come up behind someone and you tap them on the opposite shoulder that you're on, so they turn the wrong way. It's like everyone always fight. But that's just fun. It only lasts for a second, whatever. When you're questioning people's realities or like flooding their room or peeing in their shoes, like
they went hard on the pranks. Like that kind of stuff I don't like.
That is not fun.
Yeah. Like, so I don't like pranks that are gross or dangerous per se, but like if it's just I like pranks. I think they're funny. I love like Impractical Jokers. Like I love shows like that. Oh my God, it's so funny. Or even like Punk'd from back in the day. Yo, that shit was fun.
I get that cringe. I would hate it. And here's the other thing. I don't like to be pranked, so I don't prank people.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, the whole crux of the matter is like,
don't do me. Don't do me,
just,
though. And also, I do think you have to know who you can do. Like, I would never prank my mom. She is not a prankable person. She would hold it in her heart.
Not funny.
I mean, she would hold it in your heart and take it so personally. She's so serious that it's like, there's no part of you that could accept this. So you have to do it to people who you know, like my brothers. Like, we could have the most fun prank show ever. Like, I think we'd have a great time
prank
doing
war.
it. Yeah, it would be amazing. But
you have to write
go
ethos.
too far.
Yeah.
But I understand. I get it. It could go too far.
Now I will take. Okay, there is a prank I like.
Okay.
This was a radio prank. You know how like the little morning radio DJs do pranks and stuff. And there was one. I can't. It was local too. This is why I loved it.
Oh my God.
I cannot remember that because they actually ended up getting bought out by some place in Georgia.
Okay.
But what they would do, it was called the War of the Roses. And so women would call, usually women.
That movie was amazing, by the way.
It was. A woman would call in and say, I think my boyfriend's cheating on me. Or boyfriend or husband cheated on me. So what I want y'all to do is they would call and say, hey, this is Jennifer from 1-800-Flowers. We're just running a promotion. You don't have to give us your credit card or anything. We're going to send a bouquet of roses and a note to anyone you want. We just want you to review the process or whatever. And then if the dude was cheating, you send the roses to your mistress, right? And then whatever you put in the note is usually very damning, right? And that was so funny.
I don't remember this.
Oh,
this
it would be
sounds
so
amazing.
great because if she'd be on three-way.
You like that though. See, you like that because it's not you.
You're catching up, but
And
you're
it's
catching
not
up
you.
somebody. It's the comeuppance because you've been cheating on this person
Again.
and now you're getting embarrassed on the radio. One of them, I don't know if this was local. I don't know if this is when it goes too far though, right?
Okay.
Because this wasn't the 800-Flowers prank. They were doing a thing where he wanted to prank his girlfriend and call and say that he was cheating on her with his secretary and then be like, hi, April Fools or whatever. And they were gonna do it on the radio or whatever.
Okay.
So they call and do that. And she was like, I can't believe you would do that. Like she's getting all mad and everything. She's like, you know what? I'm glad I fucked your brother. On the radio live. Oh, and see? And
when the fun and games.
It was all fun and games.
Until she
and
fucked your brother.
then nobody knew what to do.
Because as the host, you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming.
Because it was just
As
supposed
the
to be like a ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
And it was like, oh, she got real. When keeping it real goes wrong.
When keeping it real goes wrong. But you know what? It's good to have that out in the open. It was going to come out sometime.
Wow. But on the radio, damn. Yeah. So, I mean, listen. Pranks was a big theme of this.
It was. Because
the
final prank was funny.
Yeah. So set it up, friend. Do you remember how?
Okay, so to honor Alaska, so the final senior prank that it was something she had planned and wasn't able to execute because she died drunk driving. Keep in mind, don't do that.
Don't do that.
So, and it was sad too because Miles and the Colonel, they felt responsible because they didn't stop her.
Yeah, because let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Because the night that she ends up dying in that car crash, she was with the Colonel and Pudge. And the whole time, I mean, like, Pudge has been trying to get with Alaska. Like, he's just pining after her the whole time. Even after she's trying to find a girlfriend for him, because she does have a boyfriend and she's been
But she's always flirting with him too.
Because
she's
she
like,
can.
oh, Pudge, you're so cute.
Because she
You're so
can and she knows that he's
sweet.
like sloppy over her and stuff like that. But at the same time, she really hadn't pushed any limits or anything with him. But this particular night, she ends up asking to play. They had been drinking. They were playing Truth or Dare, and she dared him to make out with her. And then they start making out. And when I say his dreams were coming true right now, he's like, oh my God, I could die right now.
I saw the sun, the moon,
like, wow.
the mountains,
when I'm 16,
and the rivers.
The whole thing. His life was flashing before his eyes. So it was kind of like, you know, he's having this moment with her and whatever, and then she jumps up and is hysterical, ends up leaving, and she's like, you got to help me get out of here. And he's like, doesn't know what's going on. Clearly they've been, well, I don't think he had been drinking, but she had been drinking.
Pudge and the Colonel had been drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pudge and the Colonel had?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Alaska and the Colonel.
The Colonel, yeah.
Pudge was sober.
Miles had not been drinking.
No, because he had
whatever.
been like they had almost got caught the other day, and he was like, "I'm
good.
cool."
Yeah, like I'm good or whatever. So she ends up jumping up, and she was like, "Help me leave campus, do a distraction or whatever." So I think they lit off some fireworks,
so
that
she could leave.
that the Eagle would go that way, so she could like actually drive off of the campus,
Which was bad because she was sloppy drunk. I believe she was a 2.4.
Man, 2.4.
That's really high because I think to get arrested here you only have to be like 1.8. I was gonna say 6.
I think it's 1.8.
1.8. I'm not playing those games. I wouldn't even know.
No.
How about?
I don't want to know.
No.
DUIs are the worst.
But you know what's even worse? Dying in a car crash or killing someone else.
Way worse.
Way worse. I actually a lot of this reminded me of one of our very good friends who saved my life one night. And because like I said, like sometimes
She's
you
so
don't want to
responsible.
like you don't know like, oh well, should I say something? No,
Well,
say
and then
something.
you don't want to be the one who let your friend leave. Like that actually happened to another friend of my brother and I ended up having to drive a friend where they needed to be because it was kind of like, bitch, you're not going nowhere.
You have to step in sometimes.
Yeah,
Drunk people are bad at making decisions.
They're the worst
historically.
So, I mean, they can be a lot of fun, but they also don't make great choices.
Yeah,
So,
but okay, so all that to say, the final senior prank or whatever, Alaska, they had this idea because they have this very boring speaker series that they do at the school. And so they were like, we're going to get the dean to hire a stripper instead of a speaker and have them do a sexy dance on stage.
because it was supposed to like go against the patriarchy because like Alaska went hard about patriarchy and all that kind of stuff.
She did.
It was like, women get objectified all the time. So
They
it'd be kind of
do.
funny to have like this.
We're talking about that because the boys flipped the paradigm. Can you just see
The
male,
boys, guys, don't know if you're up on that. That series
a lot
is
of
out
full
control.
frontal male nudity and backle.
Is that something that you're always like, you know what I want to see?
Some people
No, I'm asking.
asking
you,
the people.
like-
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
I can skip that. Yeah, the
wanna
tons
see
of the
cheeks
dangling
and the
especially the
flapping and-
flaccid ones, not so much.
Yeah, not the. I'm just
Not
wondering.
so
'cause
much,
I'm like,
especially they
who's
be
asking
blowing
for this?
up too.
Who's
I'm
asking
like,
for this?
apparently Eric Kripke.
Who's that?
He is one of the authors and one of the illustrators, I think, for the show.
The fact that you just popped that out your book and
Yeah.
was like,
Okay, so it was written by Garth Ennis, but I think Eric Kripke is one of the producers of the show.
the actual show.
Yeah, but
The
like,
Boys is
oh
a
yeah, let
mess.
me show you. Like, here's something, or something gross.
Oh my gosh, this show
Is
it's
it's
actually
wild.
really.
Oh,
I mean,
here you go. There's one.
What? No.
Yeah,
What are they doing?
you see what they're doing.
What is this?
I think you know what that is.
Oh,
That is what the French call a ménage à trois.
What, so there's all dudes sitting in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. And okay, you know what?
It's one of the. Oh yeah, and then you
But
got
y'all
the.
love it so hard though.
But you see how like the proportions are off, like how wide the shoulders. Like I feel like that's
Her
intentional. Yeah.
I have wide shoulders. I feel like.
No, but like that isn't. Like
don't
think of like
know.
where the boob is and
No,
where
I
the.
can't. I can't
Okay.
draw. I have no
Okay.
idea
Fair.
what's happening.
It's intentional though.
Oh, okay.
But like
What
yeah.
does it mean?
I think you're just supposed to. For one, I think it's supposed to give you a hint that she's a soup.
Oh.
And right now, that character
don't
thinks
know.
she's a human. Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, it's also just to like kind of mess with your brain a little too.
Okay. Well,
So
guys,
yes,
maybe we'll do an episode on
but
that.
yes,
However,
Alaska went hard against the patriarchy.
she really did. So that was really endearing. And I kind of liked how the Eagle, even though he was like this character, obviously that was trying to keep these kids in line.
No,
and
he was being a responsible adult.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't like him.
No, I
I'm
didn't
sorry,
say
I
that.
misunderstood.
No. I said even though, like, the Eagle was I feel like he really had a heart for these kids. He really cared about them. He really wanted to see them succeed and stuff like that. Of course, from their perspective, when they're talking about him, he's like this villain or something.
Yeah,
You know what I
where
mean?
it's like,
and
dun,
it's like,
dun,
I'm trying to
dun.
keep you safe. Like,
Literally
I'm
keep you
like,
from killing yourselves, you toddlers.
Idiots. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? I don't know. I just, what I really liked about this was that it does give young people, I don't know, like a story where you're sort of at that intersection of where you finally get access to some of like the things that you hear about, but you haven't done any of them yet, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the stuff that your parents are trying to keep you from and making a boogie monster out of.
Like BJ's.
Like BJ's and cigarettes and drinking and all of that kind of stuff. And but also at the same time, those things with bigger questions of like morality and death and
how your actions affect other people.
Yeah,
because
just
that
how
was
we're
the
all
other thing too.
connected.
Even though Miles was our protagonist, like the way he treated his little girlfriend. What was her name?
Ooh, he was what was
Was
her
it
name?
not? I want to say Nadia, but that wasn't it. She just had
Let me get to her characters.
Laura.
Laura, that was
Laura.
her name. Mm-hmm.
The way he kind of blew her off after she blew him off.
Butchskaya.
So
Laura
actually,
Butchskaya. He got his first blowjob from her, and he was very mean to her, and she tried so hard.
She did, and it was just because he shouldn't have asked her to be his girlfriend. Like,
well, and I think it was one of those things where
he was just caught up in the moment.
Well, right. Like, I mean, she was obviously a beautiful girl, and she was willing. He never really had anybody who was going to pay him any attention, and it was pretty
like,
clear.
You're great.
Yeah, Alaska wasn't getting ready to, but I did like how they shined a light on how sometimes, like, when you have a crush on somebody, it is purely physical. Like, that's what all of this was. He liked Alaska because she was beautiful, but like, she read books and they had this sort of commonality. They could talk past that, but they sort of highlighted with him and Laura how they didn't have shit to talk about. Like, have you ever liked somebody when you were younger and it's like, they're beautiful, but also...
I've had that be an instant turnoff. I've seen like
For
some
me,
of
it
the
has
most
been.
gorgeous person,
never.
and then they like talk, and it's like, oh no.
I'm talking about... I have to be able
so
to talk
disappointing.
to you. It is.
It's so disappointing. It's like, you gorgeous moron.
You just beautiful idiot. I cannot do it though. And so
good luck to you.
But for him, because he had been so starved from anything like that, it was like, you know what? She's talking to me. She's sitting next to me. I get to,
she forgave me for throwing up on her.
Yeah.
She's obviously a very forgiving person. Yeah. She's got a large capacity for love.
Yeah.
But like, I like that he eventually, like, one of the guys was like, hey, what do you think Alaska would say to you, like, if like she knew how you were treating a girl?
She would hate it.
Yeah. And so that finally got him out of it for him to be like, oh, hey, you're a person. I shouldn't have
treated you like that.
Yeah, treated you like that. So I'm glad that got addressed, because ultimately I did like the protagonist, Miles. Like, I thought he seemed like a decent fellow. I thought one of the things that was interesting is that towards the end of the novel, he's about to take finals, and he's like, I just started cheating.
It's too much information. Like,
so he was doing like the Spark Notes version of, he said 2 books, but the one that stood out to me was Things Fall Apart, which
I haven't read that one.
Oh, we should read it.
Let's
go. A bummer.
Well,
but it's also some famous African literature that often gets left out of when we're talking about the classics and whatnot. But could you say the author? I don't want to say it wrong.
You want me to say it?
I do. I want you to say it wrong.
That is wrong, actually. I don't appreciate
I'm a clever girl.
Oh man, I don't like it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm clever too. I'm not about to say it wrong.
Let's see if I can. Achibe. I can at least do the last name, Achibe. But it's basically really just about Things Fall Apart. It's just about a series of unfortunate events, African style.
Like Africans occupies a
I want
pivotal
to say
place in
it was
African
Nigeria.
literature
He's a
that remains
Nigerian
most relevant.
author.
Okay, listen, let's put it on the list. That'll be great.
I own it. I've just never. I know what happens, so I kind of don't want to read it.
Oh no!
But it's also, I know it's amazing literature too. But it's interesting to me that our protagonist doesn't even read it, and it probably will have some good lessons, because one of the themes is death.
I think that's something that John Green, I noticed too, just even in Looking for Alaska, and it was, there's, you're grappling with death. And then there was a guy who couldn't breathe that good. I'm like, I know he's obsessed with tuberculosis and like lung functionality. Like, maybe that's a thing, because the professor who dealt with like, the religious class had like a thing with breathing. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I was like, huh. So does everybody in his books, since there's always a person who's struggling to live and breathe? I don't know, but I just really liked this book. It was a really great coming of age story. I think it is a little bit, I could understand if my mind was closed off and I wasn't a person who liked to think about, teenagers in a space where they're actually exploring life in its raw form, like a lot of teenagers do. I think we like to pretend like that's not part of it and not have those conversations. So in a way, I can see how this book is a book that scares people, and that is like, yeah, I don't want my kids reading about this, because like you said, had this been a book with no consequences to those actions, that it could be a dangerous message on it. But I think that, again, he does a beautiful job of sort of, you know, showing the, you know, like this coming of age story where like, yeah, like we're exposed to these things and we experience these
like don't
things.
play yourself that
Stop.
your
Our
kids don't know what this
they don't
is.
live in a vacuum,
and you
man.
should like be able to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Like you should like,
and it's not easy. I
It's
get that.
not.
It's not easy, but it is still, you know, I think when you have narratives like
it
this,
also shows
makes
a
it,
level of trust. Like you have to trust your kids in a way. Like at a certain point, they are going to be on their own, and it's like, what are you going to do when you're in these situations? What are you going to do when, you know, you're confronted with someone who wants to drive who's clearly trashed?
Yeah.
Like a lot of,
and you think they're beautiful, so you're scared to tell them.
I actually drill like with my daughter, like when there's scenarios and stuff like that, I want to get in her mind like your default sentence needs, I need to call my mom. Like before anybody makes you go anywhere or do anything, I need to call my mom. Like that, because it's children are so impressionable.
So
like
much.
they'll just go along, and it's like, no, if you feel immediately uncomfortable, just anybody who argues with you on that point is not a good person. Like run.
Yeah.
Like
Period.
point blank. Because
They probably don't have your best interest.
They
at heart.
probably don't.
Yeah.
Because if I was like talking to a child and they're like, oh, I feel, can I call my mom? Be like, please, yes,
absolutely.
call your mom.
Yeah. Because she's here for you.
Yeah.
You know, obviously. So
Yeah. If anything else, I want to witness. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that
Like,
part.
yeah.
that part. Well, what a story. I think that this book is something that because I was reading this book this week, and my daughter was asking, what are you reading? And I told her. She's like, can I read it? I'm like, not right now. I said, but this is a book I'd love for you to read at some point, because, you know, it's real, and it might not be something that you experience in a first person way as far as, you know, any of these characters, but I think it's an important sort of narrative as far as you know, who we consider our friends, you know, and also for forgiveness. I think that's one thing, because these kids had to forgive themselves for feeling responsible for death, trauma, because Alaska clearly had some issues where, you know, the whole thing with Alaska, the reason why she was so troubled was that her mom passed away, and she felt responsible for it because she had an opportunity to call the police and didn't, and she froze and just laid there, and the dad kind of blamed her a little bit.
Which is so messed up.
It kind of
If we were
is.
doing a Am I the Asshole for that one, her daddy was the asshole.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's
You're
like,
traumatized too. But like everyone thinks they know what they would do in a trauma.
Thank you.
Like you
Same
think
as
you
them.
know.
Same as them. I thought it was interesting that they found themselves in a similar situation to Alaska. You know what I mean? Like it sort of paralleled in that, like, what, you know, they were trying to assure her, like, you were a kid, like, how were you supposed to know? And then it's like, y'all are kids, y'all are 16, like your friends.
This is why we don't let y'all even
do stuff,
and why you shouldn't be drinking. My brain the whole time was just like, oh my God, like you're so young and you're obviously depressed and you're drinking, which makes depression so much worse.
Yeah.
So
doesn't make it better.
It does not. So yeah.
But I love the main message of just like, you know, like we do forget, like there is a point in life where, you know, you like we have to move on, and it's painful, but it's also part of life. You know what I'm saying? Like just knowing that there's something beyond the great tragedies that we experience. And, you know, I think that they felt like Alaska would have forgiven them for whatever part they play, whether or not it was like them, because it was like, did she commit suicide, or
they weren't sure,
or, you know what I'm saying, was it a mistake and was it our fault kind of thing? And it's like, you know what, regardless of how it went down, you know, life goes on, and at the end of the day, Alaska probably would have forgave you. So
yeah, and ultimately, like it was her mistake.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, like we do like to center ourselves in the narrative, but ultimately that was her. She was the main character in her story, and she took that route. But yeah,
what a book, man.
Well, do you want to get happy and take a break?
Yeah. Let's take a break, you guys. We'll be right back. So we're back from the break, friend. Wow. You should join Patreon, you guys. We have so much fun.
We have so many feelings, and they're very passionate.
Yes, indeed they are. Indeed they are. But yeah, what a great book this week. I feel like I'm so glad to have added this to the canon.
Oh, shoot.
Whoa, Kat.
That was just rude. I was just trying to find my notes. And then Instagram's all like, we are family.
It's true, though.
It is true. You're just another part of me.
I got all my sisters with me. But no,
There
this
you
was
go.
a really great book. I enjoyed it a lot, and I want to give us a chance to rate this book since we both actually read it this week.
Yes.
So the assignment was fulfilled. I think if I had to rate this book, friend, I'm going to give it... Oh, man, I don't have this prepared. Ooh, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 ambrosias, which is milk and vodka mixed together in this book.
Oof. Yeah, that's so gross.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 bottles of pink wine.
Ooh, why pink wine?
Because that's what old girl always had. She always had them
that's
drinking that
right.
strawberry
she did
hill.
That she had buried in the backyard. Okay.
Yeah, there's something about some pink wine. That's
Pink wine
just
is
so, it's so,
Fun and festive.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Brilliant.
Yeah, I
But
see why it was banned,
But I didn't
but I like
cry.
Okay, me either. It was good.
I was
But-
surprised I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I think it was because I just saw it coming. It didn't hit me out of left field. I was like, yeah,
She was going hard, guys. She was troubled, and it was really sad. But I do think that it's nice to give kids these real scenarios. Like, your consequences do have real actions.
Because
And
did you have to deal with somebody dying when you were in high school? Because I feel like that happens to just about everybody.
Yeah, there's always somebody.
There's like someone in the
Absolutely.
student body or like a sibling.
There's a teenage pregnancy that happens way too early. There's
you mean
several teenage pregnancies. There's a death. There's all kinds of stuff that teenagers
Life
are grappling
happens to everybody
with.
at every point in your life. It says it turns out.
Yes. And it's nice to know that there are stories being presented to kids that reflect that difficult part of life. Not everything is just them studying for their SATs and come home. It's like, come on. Y'all know, y'all remember, fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We all were a part of this thing that we experienced, which was teenage years and adolescence, and it's
And
complicated.
pushing boundaries and
pushing
emerging adulthood.
Pushing boundaries.
That's part of it.
That's what this story reminds me of. Honestly, it's pushing boundaries and then centering yourself and finding your, finding yourself. And that's something that we do throughout our whole lives.
Okay? Well, it's like, what do I like? Am I okay with this? Do I like loud parties?
Right. Am I just doing this because my friends are doing this? Like, these are things that we go through and that we do. So really like the story. Very, very much recommend it to anybody interested in sort of exploring that narrative. I think people who might not like this would be, parents who think that their kids should know about this kind of stuff or want to keep them from it or think that they should be insulated from it, even though, guys, newsflash, they already know, they've already seen it, they've been, especially if they have social media, they know what a blowjob is,
friends
guys.
who talk.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah,
Their friends
like
are talking about
we
it.
figured it out before the internet.
Yeah, we did. So,
Now there's just way more access.
way more access. Yeah. So great book, you guys. Great episode this week. Definitely am interested in spinning the wheel, friends. So let's see what we got up for next week. So spin it.
Okay, so we are going to be watching Sprint. So it's like a limited series on Netflix about the fastest human beings on the planet. Spoiler alert, they're all black.
Wow.
So to me, I've already watched it, and it was such a great lead up to the Olympics. I want Moni to watch it, and this show is a great way to get Moni to watch things that I want her to watch.
It is.
And then I get to talk about it, and also I'm just super duper excited. And we're going to be doing a live show at P30. We're going to be helping Melly celebrate their 4th anniversary, and the theme is going to be celebrating Black Business Month.
Let's go.
And we're a black business.
We are.
So we're going to be there. Bellies and Bullshit are going to be there.
Let's
Flag
go.
TV. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about that there. And I'm super excited because this is going to be after the running of the women's 100 meter.
Yeah, so we'll probably talk about that. That'd be dope.
We're going to
talk about it.
Oh, the real
Absolutely.
trick is getting me to shut up about it.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I'm crazy excited to see it. I really, and after you watch this, you'll see. To me, it's so much. Sports are so much more enjoyable when there's a narrative. Like, I just can't go into it and been like, oh, the red shirts want to beat the blue shirts. Okay. Like,
Yeah,
no,
the
I
backstory
want
is
to
nice.
like hear about how like you had to triumph over, adversity and
Adversity?
adversity.
Yeah, adversity. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. But you triumphed over it. The way I triumphed over that word.
Yep. Yep, y'all saw it. That's how it is. That's what we do. We triumph over
All we do is triumph. So yeah, I'm into it. And I want to talk about Wolverine real quick.
Do it. Who's gonna stop you, boo?
You technically could.
I'm not.
Okay. You're a co-producer. You'll be like, and cut.
It's cool. Go for it, friend.
No, super excited. Even before the movie started, like just the trailers. Did you know that Pharrell is doing a movie about his life story told entirely through Legos?
That's so cute. No.
Yeah, he's going to do a Lego movie.
That is so cute. I love
I
that.
can't wait. I'm super duper excited.
Okay.
This was also at the Olympics. Silvia Rivo and Ariana Grande. They're going to be in a movie called Wicked.
Is it based on the play?
Yeah, the musical.
The
Yes,
musical was
very
great.
much so.
I cried at that.
I've never seen it.
was
So
so
this
good.
is going to be like, I know what
got
what
me.
it's about, and I know the big song, The Define Gravity, but I want to see it. I love both of those actresses. I think they're amazing. And so that's not till Thanksgiving though.
That's something to look forward to, though.
It is, and they looked so amazing. We'll have to actually let's look it up now. Their looks at the opening ceremonies.
Which she always looks like a
Don't they look amazing?
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, I love that green.
Yes.
Wowza.
So they're already,
Wowza.
stirring up excitement for
I
that.
want to be like that. I want to
I
dress
know.
like that. I want to go to there.
I know.
I want to be in front of the Eiffel Tower looking fancy with jewels on and a satiny beautiful damn dress with some gloves on.
Yes.
Or beautiful nails.
Yes.
And a hat.
It's really good,
And a
guys.
septum
It's
piercing.
It's so pretty. It's so, look at that. Even in the rain.
And I want somebody
Unstoppable.
doing that.
Of
I want
course,
someone
because you
holding
look
an
too
umbrella
good.
over me.
It's giving, Farnsworth
We
Bentley.
deserve that.
They deserve that. We deserve that. Yes,
You
it's
guys
all
too.
well deserved. And the other trailer that got me super hyped for Wolverine was the new Alien movie that's coming out. Alien Romulus.
yeah.
I don't care. I felt real for a minute and I liked it. I know it was a prank. Don't care. I was so excited. Because I was so hyped at this movie. There was a moment where I started clapping and got excited, and my daughter hit me with one of these
As she should.
because she likes killing my joy.
It's like, no, ma'am.
That's too much for you.
No, ma'am.
You've had enough.
You shall not be clapping.
Fortunately, she ended up falling asleep, and I was able to get my life.
Yeah.
But it was
all right.
amazing. 2 thumbs up. Looking forward to rewatching it. So much fan service, especially comic fan service. Oh man, if I keep talking about it, I'm just gonna give spoilers, so I'll stop.
Don't do it.
All right, but why are you gonna see it?
No, because people might want to see that.
Oh, if you made it this far into the show, you're okay with me spoiling
No,
stuff.
they're not. You're
Yes,
making
they
that
are.
up. You're making that up. You don't know that.
Oh man.
Anywho,
Wolverine and Deadpool get married.
there's so much to look forward to in this upcoming week. But you guys, tune back in next week. Be a part of the things that you love, you guys, because it's this or nothing. And I kind of like this.
I like this.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I like how it turned out.
Yeah, me too.
Your body belongs to you.
It does.
Have some fun with it.
Yeah, go see
But
some
don't drunk drive.
No, don't do that. That was actually one of the best messages.
That's
Like, it doesn't
actually
end
not
well.
fun either.
No, it's not. It's quite scary and can be dangerous. So, yeah, you guys, we love you. Come back next week. And until next time, peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again. And until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.